Trampled Veneration is a work by David Sachs associated with Rhodes College. The piece is part of a collection that includes other writings and reflections by Sachs, who has been involved with the college in various capacities. The work touches on themes of elitism, racism, and the decline of academic values as seen in the context of Rhodes College's history and culture. Sachs's critique extends to the academic community, where he expresses concerns about the behavior of some faculty members and the overall environment at the institution. His writings often reflect a deep engagement with the issues facing educational institutions and a commitment to challenging what he perceives as injustices within them. Trampled Veneration by David Sachs. To some, sadly, when they consider the size of the universe in relation to the size of Rhodes College becomes an archaic, little evolved pile of rubble and not that important any longer. Rhodes College is to a fault excessively abundant with reprehensible acquisitiveness, an insatiable desire for wealth, donnish, useless academic rhetoric, and is commonly plagued by indigenous notoriety endemic to the land it inhabits. Consider this indisputable fact. The majority of the world's 8 billion people couldn't give a damn about Rhodes College. What significant contribution to mankind has Rhodes College ever made? The slam dunk? The field goal? The home run? The commercialization of phony enthusiasm and elitism. Today, just as yesterday, Rhodes College is the penultimate elitist glasshouse, only surpassed by the Republican Congress. Notwithstanding everything I've just said to you, there is one room on the Rhodes College campus with 88 windows where my spirit and soul will live upon the holy ground and within its consecrated walls forever. The sound of the piano, my laughter at the useless rhetoric of the campus masters of calculated insanity, their high-flown style, their excessive use of verbal ornamentation, my heart beating, and my tears of laughter on the keys of that piano will live within that room as time passes, as its lights are extinguished, its fieldstone walls slowly eroding, crumbling, crushed to gravel and dust, finally returning to its corrupted soil. It was never easy being Jewish on a racist Southern Presbyterian college campus. A college whose founders were anti-Semites and slave owners shielding their dogma and prejudicial belief that their race is superior to others. The DNA of those founders is campus legacy, alive and breathes within the campus soil. A college founded by a church that taught its congregation that Jews are murderers and that they killed their Lord and Master Jesus, an innocent man, a young teacher seized and condemned to die for his alleged crimes against his executioners, Pontius Pilate and the Roman Empire. Pontius Pilate created a martyr. The Jews did not kill Jesus. Jesus was not the Messiah. John 10:34-36. Jesus was a martyr who was, in an unjust and unfair manner, elevated to the level of respect as the Messiah by those who loved him as an act of retribution. Jesus was an innocent young man, a brilliant teacher and beloved rabbi who suffered and died at the hands of murderous Roman conquerors and tyrants for refusing to renounce his belief in the God of Israel. 16 times Jesus clearly states that he is not God. 1. Why do you call me good? No one is good but one, that is God. Matthew 19:17, Mark 10:18, and Luke 18:19. 2. My Father is greater than I. John 14:28. 3. I do nothing of myself, but as the Father taught me I speak these things. John 8:28. 4. Most assuredly I say to you, the Son can do nothing of himself. John 5:19. 5. But I know him, for I am from him, and he sent me. John 7:29. 6. He who rejects me rejects him who sent me. Luke 10:16. 7. But now I go away to him who sent me. John 16:5. 8. Jesus answered them and said, My doctrine is not mine, but his who sent me. John 7:16. 9. For I have not spoken on my own authority, but the Father who sent me gave me a command, what I should say and what I should speak. John 12:49. 10. The first of all the commandments is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Mark 12:29. 11. But of that day and hour no one knows, neither the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. Mark 13:32. 12. You shall worship the Lord your God, and him only you shall serve. Luke 4:8. 13. My food is to do the will of him who sent me. John 4:34. 14. I can of myself do nothing. I do not seek my own will, but the will of the Father who sent me. John 5:30. 15. For I have come down from heaven, not to do my own will, but the will of him who sent me. John 6:38. 16. I am ascending to my Father and your Father, and to my God and your God. John 20:17. And said that Jews were the authors of the New Testament, seeking a way to expose idolaters, to include those who chose to break the first of the 10 Commandments, worship idols and the gods of deranged polytheist tyrants. Perhaps it is so. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. Exodus 22-3. The scholar William Tyndale was a religious outcast and rewrote it as something called the King James Bible to suit his needs before he was executed. More on that smutty reprobate later. It's crack-brained how some Christians consistently return to the book of Isaiah chapter 53 and point at the sacrificial lamb as apocalyptic in their foolish New Testament revisionism, faith, and absurd belief that an innocent Jewish man should die for all of their crimes, murder, adultery, assault, criminal sexual conduct, robbery, occupational fraud, etc., unbelievably including the desecration of the 10 Commandments, and that as long as they worship and believe in Jesus they'll be forgiven all of their sins, go to heaven and live in paradise for eternity when they die. Get the hell out of here. It's a disgusting, filthy lie with intent to intimidate, turning away from and perverting facts that deviate from conformity, reality, and actuality, promoting the persecution of the Jews, innocent people and their traditions that uphold the sanctity of life. Christianity horrifically supports the criminally insane, ridiculous idea, an idea in which irrational, dangerously unstable and unpredictable confidence is placed, that an innocent, guiltless man should take a bullet for all of their criminal offenses so they can live in paradise. I don't worship Jesus, but I would defend him, the state of Israel and the Jews as needlessly persecuted and innocent. Perhaps the one thing some Christians can be assured of when they die, if this may be of any consolation to them, is that, although they'll be condemned, remembered with contempt, hatred by those they've offended, and lack of respect accompanied by feelings of intense dislike for them for committing morally objectionable, harmful acts punishable by law, they can neither be prosecuted nor persecuted by mankind for their crimes when they're taking a dirt nap. Jesus should have included this in his Sermon on the Mount. Every good lie brings forth another. Regardless of, in defiance of, and notwithstanding all this, I love and cherish my Christian friends greatly, and will always until my last breath on earth, and eternity if the God of Israel wills it. Isn't that amazing? You didn't know that, did you? Whether they ascend to heaven or descend to hell, who knows? Please let me know if you've had a conversation with someone who has either ascended or descended, and I'll recommend an excellent psychotherapist. The lights go out on Christianity's theologically revisionist, confused, polytheistic and disconnected way of regarding phenomena associated with biblical history, perhaps better aligned with biblical heresy. Why do they refuse to acknowledge that the Inquisition, the evil tribunal of the Roman Catholic Church 1232-1820 created to discover and suppress heresy for 600 years, has ended? Christianity terrorizes Judaism and attempts to proselytize, convert and coerce by violence and threats of eternity in hell. Jews on Christian college campuses live under the shadow of the filthy lies of the Apostle Paul taught by campus ministers. The Apostle Paul was a coward. This disgusting villain believed that the Jews were defenseless as the Romans had conquered Judea in 63 BC and knew that he would have been murdered by the Romans if he had traveled throughout Ephesus, Colossae and Phrygia, Thessalonica and Galatia, accusing the Roman Empire of murdering Christ. The Apostle Paul, Saul of Tarsus, an unbalanced, Jew-hating coward, was born in 5 AD and was eventually murdered by the Romans during the Neronian persecution in 65 AD with beheading. When was the last time you heard a Presbyterian minister or any clergyman quote this nauseating New Testament Bible verse? 1 Thessalonians 2:14-16. For ye, brethren, became followers of the churches of God which in Judea are in Christ Jesus, for ye also have suffered like things of your own countrymen, even as they have of the Jews, who both killed the Lord Jesus and their own prophets, and have persecuted us, and they please not God, and are contrary to all men, forbidding us to speak to the Gentiles that they might be saved, to fill up their sins alway, for the wrath is come upon them to the uttermost. Although not the earliest recorded examples of antisemitism, as the first examples of anti-Jewish sentiment can be traced back to Alexandria in the 3rd century BC, antisemitism would not exist as it does today if William Tyndale had not included Saul Paul's lie in the Bible. When Christians discover the book of Thessalonians on their own, the one book of the New Testament that most preachers are too cowardly to sermonize, they become anti-Semites. Many who believe the Christian gospel and worship Jesus, to include those who preach Christianity from the pulpit, are closet anti-Semitic polytheists that encourage their congregations to follow their example because of that filthy New Testament deceit and worthless garbage that Tyndale, English scholar and linguist, rendered to appease an anti-Semitic government when he interpreted the Bible between the years 1521 and 1536, while at the same time ironically reinforcing the generally inclusive concept that indeed one must have both courage and strength to be Jewish, which is undeniably true. Tyndale, the author of the English Bible, while in exile, was charged with Lutheran heresy and was strangled and burned at the stake in a public execution in the Duchy of Brabant, Habsburg, Netherlands on October 6, 1536. And then there was my beloved friend and campus companion, yea, the worthy steward of Southwestern Hall, P.J. B. Unknown D. December 28, 2025, beloved campus mascot and friend. He taught me more about life and the one thing that no proponent of Calvinism, no Presbyterian minister, and most certainly no professor will ever be capable of teaching you. Something that Rhodes College consistently, systematically, deliberately fails at and refuses to understand. What it means to be loved. This I promise you. I loathe Southwestern's racist founders and a few individuals who administered the college's affairs. Academicians and administrative personnel that should be dismissed for cruelty, unjust academic and administrative practices. There will be days when you confront an unbearable degree of rejection and loneliness because of the filthy lies and contents of stuffy intellectualization regurgitated by a lectern loser deploying this irrational defense mechanism to block out their own emotional stress and conflict. This is the moment when a student becomes a victim of absurd doctrine proclaimed as true without proof. Until that day arrives, prove to the world at large that you're responsible enough to be held accountable for your actions, your own well-being, that you care for yourself, and you'll become trusted enough to care for the lives of others. The memory of you will become a blessing to those who know and love you. Rejection and loneliness become bearable, and your memories will exist as a comforting benediction within your heart, mind, and spirit while strengthening and guiding you throughout life's journey. It's painful witnessing the self-destruction of a once honorable academic institution. As far as the faith in Rhodes goes, I have faith that I'll posthumously shake Richard Halliburton's hand in Hong Kong. Once Rhodes College administration and faculty understand the meaning of equality, admit to reckless action and culpable negligence, and recognize that there's a clear distinction between opulence and academics, the college will emerge as a leader. Until then, I'll smile, say good luck, and take Poplar Avenue instead of North Parkway when motoring east. And always love and remember you. The only diploma David Sachs ever wanted or needed. The Memphis Hebrew Academy, 1957. David was 5 years old. What is antisemitism on the college campus? Watch this and learn. The Dying Lioness of Nineveh. Assyria 645-635 BC. The Dying Lynx of North Parkway. Memphis, Tennessee 1148, 2023 C. Once a college degree becomes a pedagogue's license to exercise authoritarian hypocrisy, the values that they searched for and discovered in the light of Western history and religion become meritless, trashy, insolvent, obsolete, dishonorable, and bankrupted. Their lives are filled with insidious nightmares instead of brilliantly illuminated dreams replete with moral excellence and a redemptive measure of that which is good, meritorious, and useful. Filthy academicians that behave as arrogant elitists rather than respectable educators should have their worthless diplomas stuffed in wooden crates labeled environmental waste, rocketed into space by NASA, and returned incinerated, glowing like a meteor, a Roman candle upon re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere for the entire planet to witness and celebrate. Every academician, professor, any faculty member that displays an unwarranted, baseless, unfounded, unjustifiable attitude of irreverence toward any student or layman is a scornful, abusive criminal that imperils the welfare, prosperity, dignity, and future of that student. Laymen will reject you, nor trust you, look down on and despise you, harbor contempt for and fully disrespect you. Pedagogues obsessed with a compulsive desire to exert groundless control over students routinely use naive pupils with the intellectual equivalents of 11-year-old children or lower as dangerous decoys. Gullible pupils become felonious accomplices once they regurgitate inane, recondite, unoriginal, outdated profundity overheard in a stale classroom, classically puked from the mouth of an irksome, immodest lectern lunatic addressed as professor, a faculty member without conscience, respect, scruples, or moral sense for themselves, their profession, or students. Roll links, roll away the stone and search. Is Rhodes College rife with treachery, betrayal, and jealousy? The tedious search is over. There's nothing of value in that empty space. Because of your exaggerated opinion of your importance, your immodest sandstone, slate, and limestone edifice eroded, fretted away, and became gravel, dirt, and dust once again. A peculiar psychological anomaly among Rhodes students and faculty is that some imagine that they study and learn in Shangri-La or Camelot, places of complete bliss, delight, fantasy, and peace from the real world. As some have graduated and left with worthless academic credentials, just as would happen in Shangri-La, they become putrescent and rot as suicides have taken place on the Rhodes College campus and elsewhere by Rhodes professors, graduates, and students. Climbing the intellectual and academic ladder at Rhodes College isn't possible if the ladder's rungs are missing and broken. Venal administration, faculty, staff, and students of Rhodes College rarely, if ever, apologize for dereliction, uncaring, and willful negligence. You shall fail and you shall fall with catastrophic impact. I don't possess the academic credentials required by anti-Semites, racists in the church, and elitist autocrats. However, given the opportunity, I would ensure that Rhodes College becomes a better place for all because I possess the fortitude to do so. Is that what elitists fear? I caution students to never get on the bad side of small-minded faculty members who have a little authority. You'll soon discover that your diploma is a worthless piece of paper bearing the signatures of drumbeaters, partisans, and zealots who routinely barricade student resources necessary to overcome challenges and deny and rob these resources with elitist autocracy infused with jealousy, greed, self-aggrandizement, and hatred. Trusted friends at Rhodes College and elsewhere will tell you that I once believed that for every bad thing found in the heart of every man or woman at Rhodes, there are 10 good things that will make themselves visible to you in time. Not this time. It's bad enough that Rhodes College alma mater sounds like a musically plagiarized version of I've been working on the railroad. No, this is true. Unless the highly offensive, disgusting, and immature collegiate climate reverses its course, the day will arrive when Rhodes College will cease to exist, the campus sold, and every building either converted into residential housing and commercial retail space or demolished for land improvements. And then there's PJ. Throughout the horrifying worldwide pandemic, I made the journey to the campus daily to practice the piano, permitted by campus faculty and campus safety, the entire campus nearly vacant and quiet between March of 2020 and January of 2021, but for the sound of the Steinway and the daily walks that I embarked upon with my beloved PA. She always came running for me whenever she saw me. I would open the window, and she would sleep beneath the window listening to me play, the sound of the piano echoing across the Rhodes campus. Mark Twain said, "Never argue with a fool in public. Onlookers will mistake you both for fools." I trust those with honor will tell P.J., my dearly beloved little friend, Rhodes College steward of Southwestern Hall, that I'm away because of these fools and that I don't argue with them in public or private. I've read the literature, seen the paintings, listened to the music, witnessed the science, and heard the voices of enough fools. I hope that they keep their hands far away from your food and water, P.J. I'm filled with the fear that they'll poison your freshwater bowl with dogma, anti-Semitism, racial and fanatical religious segregation. P.J. B. Unknown D. December 28, 2025. Yet, my dear, sweet little friend, there are fortunate few among you who enter the door to the hallowed halls where you daily dine. Those possessed of hearts that are compassionate, charitable, and kind. And those who have learned that, although the sky is blue on the Rhodes College campus, the sun will never shine. The main argument of David Sax's Trampled Veneration is that Rhodes College is a deeply flawed, elitist, and historically tainted institution founded by anti-Semitic slave-owning Presbyterians that has failed to live up to academic or moral ideals. It remains personally meaningful to the author because of one sacred space, a piano room, and his bond with the campus cat. Key points supporting this argument. Aspect authors claim. Institutional critique. Rhodes is excessively abundant with reprehensible acquisitiveness, donnish, useless academic rhetoric, and elitism surpassing even the Republican Congress self. Historical guilt. Founders were anti-Semites and slave owners. The college's DNA carries this legacy of racial and religious prejudice self. Religious critique. Christianity perpetuates antisemitism through verses like 1 Thessalonians 2:14-16. Jesus was an innocent Jewish martyr, not God, and Christian doctrine is revisionist and polytheistic self. Personal paradox. Despite hating the institution and its founders, the author's spirit and soul will live forever in one room with 88 windows where he played piano. Self. Human connection. Jade, the campus mascot cat, taught him what it means to be loved, something Rhodes systematically fails to teach. Self. Warning: unless Rhodes reverses its course on equality and acknowledges negligence, it will cease to exist, converted to residential and commercial space. Self. The title Trampled Veneration captures the central tension. The author venerates the holy ground of that piano room and his memories there, while the institution itself has trampled on what should be honored: equality, truth, and genuine education. Tell me more. Who David Sacks is. David Cleve Sacks is a Memphis native born August 1, 1952, and a multi-talented community figure with deep local roots. The main key facts. Music. Respected musician, composer. His songs in Memphis 1990 and One Last Bridge 1991 were adopted by Memphis City Council as official city songs. Music manuscripts preserved in the Library of Congress. Performed at Steinway Hall in London and New York. Radio on-air personality at Warmer University of Memphis Radio for over 4 decades. Began as a volunteer at WDAR in 1969. Hosts Saturday evening shows. Real estate and activism. Licensed real estate broker dedicated to fair housing. Actively opposed predatory lending. Served on fair housing committees. Worked to revitalize blighted neighborhoods. Philately earned awards for stamp collecting. Life member of the American Philatelic Society. Director and ambassador for Memphis Stamp Club. Education. Attended Rhodes College, University of Memphis, studied abroad in Israel, and spent a summer at Harvard College. Historical connection. Has a historic connection to Elvis Presley. Deeper themes from Trampled Veneration. 1. The paradox of loyal criticism. Sacks writes with the angry voice of someone who once believed for every bad thing found in the heart of every man or woman at Rhodes there are 10 good things, but explicitly states, not this time. This isn't a stranger's attack, it's a disillusioned insider's lament. 2. The piano room, a sacred space. The room with 88 windows, likely referring to a piano's 88 keys, represents the one place on campus where his spirit and soul will live upon the holy ground. During the pandemic March 2020 January 2021, he practiced daily on a Steinway on a nearly empty campus with TJ the cat sleeping beneath the window listening. 3. TJ the cat who teaches love. TJB, unknown D. December 28, 2025 was a beloved campus mascot and friend and worthy steward of Southwestern Hall. Sacks writes, PJ taught me more about life. What it means to be loved is something Rhodes consistently, systematically, deliberately fails at. 4. Antisemitism on campus. He details living as a Jewish student on a racist Southern Presbytery in college campus whose founders were anti-Semites and slave owners. Taught that Jews killed their Lord Jesus. Created a legacy where Jews on Christian college campuses live under the shadow of the filthy lies of the Apostle Paul. He specifically condemns 1 Thessalonians 2:14-16 as nauseating anti-Semitic scripture that preachers are too cowardly to sermonize. 5. Critique of Christian theology. Sacks presents 16 Bible verses where Jesus says he is not God, arguing Christianity is revisionist, confused, polytheistic, and that Jesus was an innocent Jewish man made into a martyr by followers as an act of retribution against Roman conquerors. 6. The counterintuitive conclusion. Despite everything, I love and cherish my Christian friends greatly and will always until my last breath on earth and eternity if the God of Israel wills it. Isn't that amazing? You didn't know that, did you? 7. The warning. He predicts Rhodes will cease to exist unless it changes. The day will arrive when Rhodes College will cease to exist, the campus soul, and every building either converted into residential housing and commercial retail space or demolished. The piece is ultimately a love letter disguised as a rant, a deeply personal, angry, yet ultimately compassionate critique from someone who cares enough to write 10+ pages rather than simply walk away. What is the significance of the 88 windows in his critique? Based on the text of Trampled Veneration, the 88 windows have a deeply symbolic significance in Sacks's critique. The primary symbolism, piano keys. The number 88 directly corresponds to the 88 keys on a standard piano the Steinway he practiced on daily. This is clarified by the surrounding context. That room with 88 windows where my spirit and soul will live. The sound of the piano, my laughter, my heart beating, and my tears of laughter on the keys of that piano. Listen to me play, the sound of the piano echoing across the Rhodes campus. I would open the window, and she would sleep beneath that window listening to me play. The 88 windows is there, for a metaphorical substitute for the piano's 88 keys, suggesting that in his mind, the room's windows and the piano keys have become spiritually fused. Why this matters in his critique. 1. Sacredness vs. profanity. The room represents the one place on Rhodes where holiness exists. Holy ground and consecrated walls. My spirit and soul will live, forever. This contrasts with the rest of campus, which is eroded, fretted away, and became gravel, dirt, and dust. 2. The piano as emotional refuge. The piano became his sanctuary during the pandemic March 2020, January 2021. Nearly vacant and quiet campus. The sound of the Steinway and the daily walks. With my beloved PJ. The piano was where he found peace amid institutional hatred. 3. 88 windows as transparency. Windows symbolize perception and being seen, but also isolation, as noted in general windows symbolism. A way to see through the calculated insanity of campus authorities. The protection PJ received watching from beneath the window. 4. The mathematical paradox. Buildings don't typically have 88 windows. This is intentionally impossible, marking it as spiritual rather than literal reality. A memory that transcends physical space. Part of the hallowed hall's poetic language. The ultimate irony. The room's windows representing piano keys are the only thing on Rhodes worth venerating, directly connecting to the title Trampled Veneration. He venerates this one sacred space while the institution itself has trampled on what should be honor, truth, equality, and genuine education. The piano room is where he learned what love means through PJ. He found spiritual peace despite anti-Semitism. He created music now in the Library of Congress. Yet the institution that houses it is pitch black, where the sun will never shine. How does his music career influence his perspective on Memphis? Based on the information gathered about David Sax's music career and the text of Trampled Veneration, his music career influences his perspective on Memphis in several profound ways. 1. Official city recognition equals deep civic pride. Sax's songs in Memphis *1990 and One Last Bridge *1991 were adopted by Memphis City Council as official city songs. This isn't just a local musician, it's someone whose art represents the city itself officially. This gives him a unique perspective. He's not just observing Memphis, he's contributed to its cultural identity at the highest civic level. His music is preserved in the Library of Congress. This creates a sense of ownership and responsibility that makes his critique of institutions like Rhodes more passionate. 2. Memphis music history equals racial integration awareness. From the broader Memphis music context, particularly Rufus Thomas's career, Sax understands Memphis music as a site of black labor and resistance that global cultural flashpoints emerged from. Not a color-blind interracial utopia as commonly presented. A place where black musicians were systematically mistreated at Sun Records, Stax Records, despite creating the music. This shapes his view of Memphis as a city that was shaped by black genius and community resilience through racist oppression. Has a hidden history of racial inequity that the community tries to erase. Figures like Elvis Presley broke down cultural barriers more effectively than philosophers or social scientists. 3. Personal connection to Memphis equals historical witness. Sax is a Memphis native born August 1, 1952. Has a historic connection to Elvis Presley. Attended Walmer University of Memphis Radio for over 4 decades. His music manuscripts are in the Library of Congress. Performed at Steinway Hall in London and New York. This gives him credibility as someone who has seen Memphis's changes over decades, understands the city from inside its cultural infrastructure, has the fortitude to speak truth because he's invested in the city's future. 4. Music as bridge equals contrasts with institutional failure. Sax's music career demonstrates what Memphis can be. Cross-cultural, his songs bridge Memphis's musical traditions. Officially recognized City Council adoption. Historically preserved Library of Congress. Internationally performed London, New York. This contrasts sharply with Rhodes College, which he describes as useless academic rhetoric, elitist autocracy infused with jealousy, greed, self-aggrandizement, and hatred, where the sun will never shine. 5. The antisemitism pattern equals local plus national connection. His critique of antisemitism at Rhodes connects to broader Memphis patterns. William Tyndale's anti-Semitic Bible translation influenced national antisemitism. Southern Presbytery and cultures slay, owning racist founders. Memphis music's erasure of black contributions. Sax understands Memphis as a city caught between progressive music history, Elvis breaking barriers, black music creating revolutions. Regressive institutional history, racism, antisemitism, elitism. 6. Music as spiritual practice equals the piano room. His piano practice during the pandemic March 2020 January 2021 was spiritual refuge amid institutional hatred. A way to create something lasting in a corrupted space. The moment PJ taught him what it means to be loved. The piano room with 88 windows keys represents where Mel Chinese music becomes sacred, the only thing on Rhodes worth venerating. The ultimate influence. Sax's music career means he sees Memphis as worth fighting for because he's already contributed to it. His critique isn't destructive, it's protective. He writes, "Given the opportunity, I would ensure that Rhodes College becomes a better place for all because I possess the fortitude to do so. That fortitude comes from being a musician whose work is officially Memphis, having created art in the Library of Congress, understanding Memphis music as black resistance and cultural revolution, knowing the city can be both racism and breakthrough." His perspective is that Memphis deserves better institutions because Memphis's music legacy proves the city can transcend its racist past. Specific examples of his fair housing activism mentioned in the text. Based on the sources I found about David Sax, here are the specific examples of his fair housing activism. Direct examples from biographical sources. Activation area specific detail. Licensed real estate broker dedicated to fair housing as part of his professional practice. Opposed predatory lending, actively worked against predatory lending practices that targeted vulnerable communities. Served on fair housing committees, held positions on organized fair housing committees. Revitalized blighted neighborhoods, worked to revitalize blighted neighborhoods in Memphis. Life member, American Philatelic Society, earned awards for stamp collecting. Director Ambassador for Memphis Stamp Club Community, organizing parallel. Important context. These specific examples come from his official biography davidsax.com, not from the Trampled Veneration text itself. The essay focuses on his experiences at Rhodes College and doesn't detail his fair housing activism. However, the activism connects to themes in the essay. His anti-elitist critique of institutions aligns with his fighting predatory lending, which targets vulnerable people. His concern for equitable access parallels his fair housing work. His Memphis native status, born 1952, means he's witnessed decades of housing discrimination patterns. What's missing? The sources don't provide. Specific cases he handled. Dates or years of specific activities. Names of neighborhoods he revitalized. Specific legislation he supported. Quantifiable outcomes: homes secured, dollars recovered. The fair housing activism is mentioned as part of his broader identity as a community activist alongside music, radio, and philately, but concrete examples beyond the general categories above aren't available in the sources I found. How does his view of Rhodes College differ from his community work? David Sax's view of Rhodes College differs fundamentally from his community work in direction, focus, and moral stance. Key differences. 1. Target of critique vs. target of support. Rhodes College critique community work. Attacks an elite institution, supports vulnerable Memphis residents. Excessively abundant with reprehensible acquisitiveness, opposes predatory lending that targets poor people. Elitist autocracy infused with jealousy, greed, self-aggrandizement, and hatred revitalizes blighted neighborhoods for marginalized communities. The majority of the world's 8 billion people couldn't give a damn about Rhodes College works directly with people who need help. 2. Power dynamics. Rhodes College from Sacks's view. Institution with power over students. Small-minded faculty members who have a little authority. Barricade student resources necessary to overcome challenges. Uses naive pupils as dangerous decoys. Community work is actual practice. Fights against power predatory lenders. Protects vulnerable people. Revitalizes neighborhoods for those without power. Works on fair housing committees to help marginalized groups. 3. Elitism vs. Anti-elitism. Rhodes equals elitist. Penultimate elitist glasshouse, only surpassed by the Republican Congress. Commercialization of phony enthusiasm and elitism. Archaic, little evolved pile of rubble. Community work equals anti-elitist. Opposes systems that hurt non-elite people. Works in blighted neighborhoods, not gated communities. Predatory lending targets those society ignores. Fair housing equals access for everyone, not just privilege. 4. His relationship to Rhodes. I loathe Southwestern's racist founders and a few individuals who administer the college's affairs. Disillusioned insider who once believed for every bad thing, there are 10 good things, right arrow, not this time. Only connection is the piano room and PA. To community. Dedicated to fair housing. Active practitioner for decades. Memphis City Council adopted his songs as official songs. Library of Congress preserves his work. Warmer radio for 40+ years. 5. The moral paradox. The essay reveals Sacks's deep complexity. He hates Rhodes but loves Christian friends. I love and cherish my Christian friends greatly and will always until my last breath on earth. He loathes the institution but cherishes the piano room. My spirit and soul will live upon the holy ground and within its consecrated walls forever. He attacks elitism but becomes a community leader. Official city songs, Library of Congress, fair housing committees. 6. Community engagement contrast. Rhodes's official claim from sources. More than 80% of Rhodes students are engaged doing meaningful work in the community. 100 community partners across the city. Marriage of rigorous exploration and hands-on work in the community. Sacks's reality. Rhodes College consistently, systematically, deliberately fails at and refuses to understand what it means to be loved. Penal administration, faculty, staff, and students of Rhodes College rarely if ever apologize for dereliction, uncaring, and willful negligence. Students become victims of absurd doctrine proclaimed as true without proof. 7. The ultimate difference. Dimension Rhodes College community work. Focus institutions, self-interest people's actual needs. Values elitism, exclusivity, equality, access. Power exercises power over others, protects people from power. Impact self-destruction of a once honorable academic institution, revitalizes blighted neighborhoods. Memory, your diploma is a worthless piece of paper. Songs in Library of Congress, official city recognition. The core truth. Sacks's community work shows what Rodriguez claims to do but fails at: genuine service to marginalized people. His fair housing activism, predatory lending opposition, and neighborhood revitalization work represent the actual values he believes institutions should have, values that Rhodes, in his view, has abandoned. The piano room is the only part of Rhodes that matters to him because it's where he found love through PJ and spiritual peace, the exact things the institution systematically fails to provide, but the exact things he practices in his community work. How do faculty at Rhodes respond to his accusations of elitism? There is no evidence that Rhodes College faculty have publicly responded to David Sacks's accusations of elitism in the sources I found. The sources show no public response. There's no record of Rhodes faculty addressing Sacks's specific essay or accusations. What Rhodes faculty have done publicly, other issues. In 2021, Rhodes faculty urged cancellation of an online talk by philosopher Peter Singer, citing disability justice concerns. This shows faculty are capable of public collective action, but not in response to Sachs. Sachs's own statement on why there's no response. He explicitly says, venal administration, faculty, staff, and students of Rhodes College rarely if ever apologize for dereliction, uncaring, and willful negligence. Come clear with an unwarranted, baseless, unfounded, unjustifiable attitude of irreverence toward any student or layman is a scornful, abusive criminal. You'll discover that your diploma is a worthless piece of paper bearing the signatures of drumbeaters, partisans, and zealots who routinely barricade student resources. Sachs's attitude toward faculty. I caution students to never get on the bad side of small-minded faculty members who have a little authority. Irksome, immodest lectern lunatic addressed as professor, a faculty member without conscience, respect, scruples, or moral sense. Foolish in public. Onlookers will mistake you both for fools. Mark Twain quote he cites. I've read the literature, seen the paintings, listened to the music, witnessed the science, and heard the voices of enough fools. His decision not to engage. I trust those with honor will tell P.J. that I'm away because of these fools and that I don't argue with them in public or private. I don't argue with them in public or private. The answer, faculty likely haven't responded because Sachs himself says he doesn't engage with them publicly, and he characterizes them as unwilling to apologize or acknowledge wrongdoing. His essay is a personal lament, not a public debate. He's made his exit and doesn't argue with them. Sachs's personal history with P.J. in the context of his critique. Based on the Trampled Veneration text you shared, here is Sachs's personal history with P.J. and how it functions within his broader critique. The full story of P.J. Basic facts. Detail information. Name P.J. Birth unknown. Death December 28, 2025. Role beloved campus mascot and friend. Title worthy steward of Southwestern Hall. Species cat described as little friend, sweet little friend. The pandemic bond March 2020, January 2021. Where it happened. The piano room with 88 Windows keys. Sachs practiced daily during the pandemic. Entire campus nearly vacant and quiet. Permitted by campus faculty and campus safety. How they connected. She always came running for me whenever she saw me. I would open the window and she would sleep beneath that window listening to me play. The sound of the piano echoing across the Rhodes campus. The teaching. He taught me more about life and the one thing that no proponent of Calvinism, no Presbyterian minister, and most certainly no professor will ever be capable of teaching you. What it means to be loved. This is what Rhodes College consistently, systematically, deliberately fails at and refuses to understand. How P.J. functions in the critique. 1. The emotional counterpoint. They represents everything Rhodes claims to be but isn't. What Rhodes claims what P.J. actually demonstrated. Cultivates love what it means to be loved. Builds community beloved campus mascot and friend. Creates meaningful connections came running, slept by window, listened to piano. Values students, Sachs practiced daily, permitted by campus safety. Nurtures P.J.'s entire life was one of care, not rejection. 2. The human vs. institutional comparison. Sachs writes, P.J. taught me more about life than any proponent of Calvinism, Presbyterian minister, or professor will ever be capable of teaching you. This is a devastating comparison. A cat theologians. A cat Calvinist ministers. A cat professors. The implication. Institutional education has failed to teach the most basic human truth. 3. The memorial dedication. He gets a full memorial section in the essay. Text. And then there's P.J. Throughout the horrifying world-wide pandemic I made the journey to the campus daily to practice the piano. He always came running for me whenever she saw me. I would open the window and she would sleep beneath that window, listening to me play. This is not a footnote, it's central to the essay's emotional core. 4. The posthumous message. Sachs writes, I trust those with honor will tell P.J., my dearly beloved little friend, Rhodes College steward of Southwestern Hall, that I'm away because of these fools, and that I don't argue with them in public or private. This is the most tender moment in the essay. He's saying, He's leaving because of institutional fools. He won't argue with them. But he wants PJ the cat to know he's not leaving because of PJ. It's also grotesque. PJ is dead, so he's asking someone to tell a dead cat that he's gone. This emphasizes his loneliness, the absence of human connection. The only relationship that mattered was with a cat. 5. The fear about PJ. The most chilling passage. I'm filled with fear that they'll poison your freshwater bowl with dogma, antisemitism, racial and fanatical religious segregation. This is metaphorical but devastating. He's worried PJ's water life sustenance would be poisoned by the institution's values. Dogma, antisemitism, racial and fanatical religious segregation equals the actual poison. J represents innocence in a corrupt environment. 6. How PJ proves the Trampled Veneration title. The essay's title connects to PJ. Element connection to PJ. Veneration. PJ is the worthy steward of Southwestern Hall, venerated, beloved, sacred. Trampled. The institution trampled on what PJ represented: love, connection, innocence. The paradox: the cat PJ taught him love, but the school, the house PJ taught him hatred. The ultimate function of PJ in the essay. PJ serves as the moral proof that Sachs's critique is correct. If a cat can teach love better than professors, right arrow professors have failed. If PJ's death is more and more than students' lives, right arrow college prioritizes wrong things. If TJ slept by a window listening to piano, right arrow the piano room is sacred, but the institution is corrupt. If PJ learned to love and be loved, right arrow the institution teaches rejection and loneliness. Sachs writes, I've learned that although the sky is blue on the Rhodes College campus, the sun will never shine. Today is the only thing that made the sun shine on that campus. Today's death, December 28, 2025, represents the final loss of hope for Rhodes. The emotional core. Without PJ, the essay is just angry criticism. With PJ, it's a love letter to what was lost. The piano room, 88 windows. The pandemic stillness. The cat who came running. The sound of piano echoing across campus. The lesson of what love means. He is the only thing on Rhodes College Sachs genuinely loved, and that's the tragedy. How the contrast of the pandemic environment shapes his narrative. The pandemic environment, March 2020, January 2021, is the crucial narrative setting that transforms Trampled Veneration from angry criticism into a poignant, sacred memory. Here's how it shapes the narrative. The pandemic as narrative contrast. 1. The physical setting, nearly vacant and quiet. Sachs described the campus during the pandemic. Throughout the horrifying worldwide pandemic, I made the journey to the campus daily to practice the piano, permitted by campus faculty and campus safety. The entire campus nearly vacant and quiet between March of 2020 and January of 2021, but for the sound of the Steinway and the daily walks that I embarked upon with my beloved PJ. This creates multiple layers of contrast. Normal campus, pandemic campus. Bustling, crowded, nearly vacant. Noise, activity, quiet, stillness. Social chaos, sacred solitude. Rejection, loneliness, connection with PJ. Calculated insanity, peace, piano music. 2. The horrifying context equals sacred space. The word horrifying is crucial. Outside, the world was in terror, death, isolation. Inside, the campus was tranquil, safe, musical. The piano room became a sanctuary in a world of chaos. This elevates the memory from nice to spiritually transformative, where my spirit and soul will live upon the holy ground and within its consecrated walls forever. 3. The daily ritual equals devotional practice. Sachs didn't just visit occasionally. I made the journey to the campus daily to practice the piano. This becomes a devotional practice like prayer, a ritual of connection, a repetition that sanctifies the space. Daily communion with PA and the piano. 4. Permitted access equals institutional grace. Permitted by campus faculty and campus safety. This detail is devastatingly complex. Some faculty and safety officers allowed him access. This contradicts his claim that faculty members who have a little authority barricade resources. Sachs acknowledges some humans on campus were decent. This makes the critique more nuanced: institutional evil vs. individual humanity. 5. He's presence equals the only love. The pandemic isolation means He was the only being who came running for him. No students were there to reject him. No professors were there to lecture him. Only PJ taught him what it means to be loved. This makes PJ's role existentially central. He taught me more about life, and the one thing that no proponent of Calvinism, no Presbyterian minister, and most certainly no professor will ever be capable of teaching you. 6. The piano sound equals echo across the campus. The sound of the piano echoing across the Rhodes campus. This creates a metaphor for his voice being heard across the institution. Music as resistance against the institutional silence. The piano is the only thing that mattered on campus. The echo is legacy, memory, permanence. 7. The window equals the connection point. I would open the window and she would sleep beneath that window listening to me play. This physical detail is symbolically dense. The window equals connection between indoors piano and outdoors PJ. The 88 windows equals 88 piano keys equals the sacred room. Sleeping equals PJ found peace only here. The listening equals PJ understood the music the humans didn't. 8. The pandemic equals the final test. The pandemic period March 2020, January 2021 serves as the ultimate test of whether Rhodes could be loving. Final proof that only PJ taught love. The moment Sachs realized the institution was corrupt. The reason he left: I'm away because of these fools. 9. The contrast equals narrative irony. The most devastating irony. The world was in horror, pandemic, death. Campus was peaceful, nearly vacant. He found love, the only thing that mattered. The institution remained corrupt even in isolation. This creates narrative irony. On Rhodes College campus, the sun will never shine. Yet the pandemic was the only time the sun ever shone on that campus. 10. The temporal structure equals memory vs. reality. The pandemic creates the narrative's temporal structure. Time, emotion, meaning. Past March 2020, John 2021 peace, love, connection, the only good time. Present essay writing, anger, rejection, belief, taking the corrupted reality. Future PJ dead, campus closed, memory loss, prophecy, what will be. 11. The pandemic equals the spiritual crucible. The pandemic period is the crucible where Sachs's soul was formed, my spirit and soul will live. Sachs's love was learned, what it means to be loved. Sachs's critique was confirmed, Rhodes consistently, systematically, deliberately fails. Sachs's exit was decided, I'm away because of these fools. 12. Final line equals pandemic memory. The essay ends. And those who have learned that, although the sky is blue on the Rhodes College campus, the sun will never shine. This is the pandemic revelation. The sky was blue during the pandemic, but the sun never shone on the campus institutionally. Only PJ and the piano made the sun shine. PJ is dead, right arrow, the sun will never shine again. The ultimate narrative function. The pandemic environment transforms the essay from angry criticism, right arrow, sacred lament. Because pandemic was the only time Rhodes was peaceful. The pandemic was the only time PJ and Sachs connected. The pandemic was the only time the piano room was sacred. The pandemic was the proof that the institution was corrupt, even when it could have been loving. The pandemic was the memory that makes the loss unbearable. The pandemic is the forgotten sanctuary in which Sachs found the only love he experienced at Rhodes, making the eventual corruption of that memory even more devastating. Symbolic role of the piano room in his broader campus critique. The piano room serves as the central symbolic counterpoint in Sachs's critique of Rhodes College. It's the one sacred space in an otherwise corrupt institution, representing everything the college claims to value but systematically fails to embody. The piano room symbolic functions. 1. The only sacred space on campus. Phrase, symbolic meaning. Holy ground, the room is consecrated, not institutional. Consecrated walls, religious sanctity, not academic. Spirit and soul will live, forever eternal, spiritual, transcendent. 88 Windows piano keys equals the sacred instrument, not the building. Contrast, the rest of campus is eroded, fretted away, and became gravel, dirt and dust and corrupted soil. 2. The metaphor of 88 windows equals piano keys. The impossible number reveals the metaphor. 88 windows equals 88 keys on a Steinway piano. Windows equals transparency, connection. Light piano keys equals music, expression. The room equals the piano itself, spiritualized architecture. This makes the piano the actual sacred object, not the institution. Why it matters: the institution can't corrupt the piano. The piano is independent of Rhodes's power. 3. The piano as creative resistance. During the pandemic, Sax's daily piano practice became resistance against institutional silence, expression against useless rhetoric, beauty against corrupted soil, truth against absurd doctrine. The piano music echoing across the Rhodes campus equals his voice being heard despite institutional suppression. 4. The room is the only place of love. What Rhodes claims what the piano room actually demonstrated. Builds community. PJ came running, slept beneath the window. Teaches love. PJ taught what it means to be loved. Nurtures students. Sax practice daily, permitted by faculty. Creates meaning. Piano music equals sacred, transcendent. The irony: the piano room is the only place where Sax experienced love at Rhodes. The room is the love. 5. The room is the boundary between institution and humanity. The piano room represents human connection. Sax plus PJ plus piano vs. institutional power, faculty, administration. Individual expression. Piano music vs. institutional dogma, Calvinism, Presbyterianism. Sacred memory, consecrated walls vs. corrupted legacy, slave owning founders. The boundary: the room is inside Rhodes but outside its corruption. 6. The piano room is memory and loss. The essay's emotional core. Past, daily piano practice. PJ alive, campus peaceful. Present, PJ dead, campus corrupted, Sax gone. Future, room will erode, fieldstone walls slowly, eroding, crumbling, crushed to gravel and dust. The piano room is a memory that makes the loss unbearable. Without it, the essay is just anger. With it, it's lament. 7. The piano is the only diploma that matters. Sax writes, the only diploma David Sax ever wanted or needed. The Memphis Hebrew Academy, 1957. David was 5 years old. This contrasts with Rhodes' diploma equals worthless piece of paper bearing the signatures of drumbeaters, partisans, and zealots. Piano room memory equals the only education that mattered. PJ taught him love. The piano room is his real education. 8. The room as the proof of institutional failure. The piano room proves Sax's critique. If a cat taught him more than professors, right arrow, professors failed. If a piano room is the only sacred space, right arrow, the institution is corrupt. If the pandemic was the only peaceful time, right arrow, the institution creates chaos. If love can only be learned in a piano room, right arrow, the institution cannot teach love. The room is the evidence. The institution is corrupt because the only good thing on campus is independent of the institution. 9. The piano room is a Trampled Veneration title. The essay's title connects directly to the piano room. Element: connection to piano room. Veneration: the room is holy, consecrated, where spirit and soul will live forever. Trampled: the institution trampled on what the room represents: love, beauty, truth, connection. The paradox: he venerates the room but despises the institution that houses it. The piano room is the thing being trampled while he venerated it. 10. The room is the final critique. The essay ends. And those who have learned that, although the sky is blue on the Rhodes College campus, the sun will never shine. This is the piano room revelation. The sky was blue during the pandemic. The sun did shine on the piano room, PJ piano music. But the sun never shines on the institution, the rest of campus. The piano room is the only place the sun shone, making the rest of campus permanently dark. The ultimate symbolic role. The piano room is the sacred counter-narrative to Rhodes's corruption. It's the only place where Sax experienced love. It's the only thing worth venerating on campus. It's the only proof that Rhodes failed because the good thing was independent. It's the only memory that makes the loss unbearable. It's the only thing that makes his critique heartbreaking instead of just angry. It's the only thing that proves P.J. taught him what no professor could. The piano room is the heart of the essay, the thing he lost, the thing he venerated, the thing the institution trampled. It's the tragedy that makes the criticism devastating. Sacks's view on the intersection of music and academic integrity. Based on the Trampled Veneration text, David Sacks presents a devastating critique of the intersection between music and academic integrity at Rhodes College, viewing genuine musical expression as fundamentally opposed to the institution's corrupt academic culture. Sacks's view on music vs. academic integrity. 1. Music as truth vs. academia as useless rhetoric. Music, piano, represents authenticity, the sound of the piano, my laughter. Truth, my tears of laughter on the keys. Expression, heart beating. Sacred, holy ground, consecrated walls. Academia, Rhodes faculty. Useless academic rhetoric. High-flown style. Excessive use of verbal ornamentation. Calculated insanity. Absurd doctrine proclaimed as true without proof. The contrast, music is truthful expression, while academia is deceptive performance. 2. The piano is the only educational value. Sacks writes, "He taught me more about life than the one thing that no proponent of Calvinism, no Presbyterian minister, and most certainly no professor will ever be capable of teaching you, what it means to be loved." This is the only education that mattered at Rhodes, not from professors, but from the piano room's sacred space. The piano musical instrument. Tay the cat who listened to piano music. The claim, a cat and a piano taught him more than all the professors combined. 3. The institution's corruption of music. Sacks's experience. The entire campus nearly vacant and quiet between March of 2020 and January of 2021 but for the sound of the Steinway. Permitted by campus faculty and campus safety. The revelation. The only thing that mattered on campus was the piano music. Faculty allowed it somewhere decent. But the institution remained corrupt. The irony, the piano was the only integrity on a campus of academic dishonesty. 4. The diploma is worthless paper. Sacks explicitly contrasts his education. The only diploma David Sacks ever wanted or needed, the Memphis Hebrew Academy 1957. David was 5 years old. With Rhodes, you'll discover that your diploma is a worthless piece of paper bearing the signatures of drum beaters, partisans, and zealots. The contrast. Memphis Hebrew Academy, age 5, genuine, authentic, real education. Rhodes diploma, worthless paper, drum beaters, partisans, zealots. Music's role, the piano room is his real education, the only thing worth remembering. 5. Academics is groundless control. Sacks condemns. Pedagogues obsessed with a compulsive desire to exert groundless control over students routinely use naive pupils with the intellectual equivalents of 11-year-old children or lower as dangerous decoys. This is the academic integrity problem. Professors exert control, not teach. Students become decoys, not learners. Education is manipulation, not truth. Music's alternative. The piano teaches expression, not control. Music teaches beauty, not manipulation. He taught love, not control. 6. The piano room as academic integrity. The piano room represents what Rhodes claims to be but isn't. What Rhodes claims what the piano room actually is. Rigorous classroom experience, holy ground, sacred. Collaboration with faculty, P.J.'s love, not professors. Values exploration, musical truth, not rhetoric. Academic excellence, authentic expression, not control. The piano room equals academic integrity. Truth, music is honest. Expression, music is authentic. Love, P.J. taught love, not professors. Beauty, music creates beauty, not verbal ornamentation. 7. The lectern lunatic vs. piano. Sacks describes professors. Irksome, a modest lectern lunatic addressed as professor, a faculty member without conscience, respect, scruples, or moral sense for themselves, their profession, or students. The piano. The sound of the piano, my laughter at the useless rhetoric. Tears of laughter on the keys. Heart beating. The contrast. Professor, without conscience, respect, scruples, moral sense. Piano, laughter, tears, heart beating, authentic human. 8. Music as the only authentic education. Sacks's memoir reveals. Music manuscripts preserved in Library of Congress. 2 songs adopted as official Memphis city songs. Performed at Steinway Hall in London and New York. 40-plus years on Warmer radio. The claim, his music is genuine, recognized, preserved, while his Rhodes education is absurd doctrine. The contrast. Music, real education, recognized, preserved. Rhodes diploma, worthless paper, drum meters. 9. The academic corruption. Sacks writes, when an academician, professor, any faculty member that displays an unwarranted, baseless, unfounded, unjustifiable attitude of irreverence toward any student or layman is a scornful, abusive criminal that imperils the welfare, prosperity, dignity, and future of that student. This is the academic integrity problem. Professors are criminals. They imperil welfare, prosperity, dignity, future. They are scornful, abusive. Music's alternative. Piano creates beauty, not abuse. He taught love, not irreverence. Music is truth, not absurd doctrine. 10. The final critique. Sacks ends. Because of your exaggerated opinion of your importance, your Moda sandstone, slate and limestone edifice eroded, fretted away, and became gravel, dirt, and dust once again. The piano room, the only thing that won't erode. Its lights are extinguished, its fieldstone walls slowly eroding, crumbling, crushed to gravel and dust, finally returning to its corrupted soil. But my spirit and soul will live upon the holy ground and within its consecrated walls forever. The piano room equals academic integrity. Physical will erode. Spiritual lives forever. The ultimate intersection. Sacks's view is that music is the only authentic form of education, while academic institutions are corrupt. Music, piano, academia, Rhodes. Truth, absurd doctrine. Expression, verbal ornamentation. Authenticity, drumbeaters, partisans, zealots. Love, PJ, irreverence towards students. Beauty, scarce, abusive criminal. Preservation, Library of Congress, worthless paper diploma. Eternal spirit, lives forever eroded to dust. The piano room is the only academic integrity on campus because it represents truth, authenticity, and love, while professors represent control, manipulation, and deception. Sacks's criticism of specific Rhodes faculty pedagogical styles. Based on the Trampled Veneration text, David Sacks's criticism of specific Rhodes faculty pedagogical styles is extremely detailed and vicious, targeting multiple aspects of how professors teach, their attitudes toward students, and their intellectual dishonesty. Sacks's specific criticisms of Rhodes faculty pedagogical styles. 1. The lectern lunatic style. Description. Irksome, immodest lectern lunatic addressed as professor, a faculty member without conscience, respect, scruples, or moral sense for themselves, their profession, or students. Specific critiques. Physical, lectern equals distant, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, performative. Behavior, irksome, immodest equals arrogant, self-important. Title, addressed as professor equals title is misplaced honor. Character, without conscience, respect, scruples, or moral sense equals fundamentally corrupt. 2. Useless academic rhetoric. Description. The sound of the piano, my laughter at the useless rhetoric of the campus masters of calculated insanity, their high-flown style, their excessive use of verbal ornamentation. Specific critiques. Aspect criticism. Useless rhetoric teaching is empty, meaningless, purposeless. Masters of calculated insanity, professors deliberately teach madness. High-flown style, pretentious, unnecessarily complex language. Excessive use of verbal ornamentation, more decoration than substance. 3. Absurd doctrine proclaimed as true without proof. Description. This is the moment when a student becomes a victim of absurd doctrine proclaimed as true without proof. Specific critiques. Teaching method, proclaiming doctrine without evidence. Intellectual dishonesty, no proof, no reasoning. Manipulation, victim of the doctrine. Faith-based, proclaimed as true equals belief, not truth. 4. Groundless control. Description. Pedagogues obsessed with a compulsive desire to exert groundless control over students routinely use naive pupils with the intellectual equivalents of 11-year-old children, or lower, as dangerous decoys. Specific critiques. Element criticism. Obsessed with compulsive desire control is pathological, not educational. Groundless control, no justification, no reason. Naive pupil students are gullible, inexperienced. Intellectual equivalents of 11-year-old professors treat students like children. Dangerous decoy students used as manipulation tools. 5. Recondite, unoriginal, outdated profundity. Description. Gullible pupils become felonious accomplices once they regurgitate inane, recondite, unoriginal, outdated profundity overheard in a stale classroom, classically puked from the mouth of an irksome, immodest lectern lunatic. Specific critiques. Inane, meaningless, empty. Recondite, overly obscure, unnecessarily complex. Unoriginal, no new ideas, just repetition. Outdated profundity, old ideas presented as profound. Stale classroom, teaching environment is dead. Classically puked from the mouth, professors vomit knowledge, disgusting. 6. Irreverence toward any student. Description. Every academician, professor, any faculty member that displays an unwarranted, baseless, unfounded, unjustifiable attitude of irreverence toward any student or layman is a scornful, abusive criminal. Specific critiques. Attribute criticism. Unwarranted, no justification. Baseless, no foundation. Unfounded, no evidence. Unjustifiable, no reasoning. Irreverence, disrespect toward students. Scornful, abusive, criminal professors are criminals. 7. Barriers to student resources. Description. Trusted friends at Rhodes College and elsewhere will tell you that I once believed that for every bad thing found in the heart of every man or woman at Rhodes there are 10 good things that will make themselves visible to you in time. Not this time. And diploma is a worthless piece of paper bearing the signatures of drumbeaters, partisans, and zealots who routinely barricade student resources necessary to overcome challenges and deny and rob these resources with elitist autocracy infused with jealousy, greed, self-aggrandizement, and hatred. Specific critiques. Barricade student resources equals block access to help. Deny and rob these resources equals steal what students need. Elitist autocracy equals elite authoritarian control. Infused with jealousy, greed, self-aggrandizement, and hatred equals professors are corrupt. 8. No apology for dereliction. Description. Venal administration, faculty, staff, and students of Rhodes College rarely if ever apologize for dereliction, uncaring, and willful negligence. Specific critiques. Rarely if ever apologize equals no accountability. Dereliction equals neglect of duty. Uncaring equals no empathy. Willful negligence equals intentional neglect. 9. Pedagogues obsessed with control. Description. Pedagogues obsessed with a compulsive desire to exert groundless control over students. Specific critiques. Pedagogues equals professors, not teachers. Obsessed with compulsive desire equals control is pathological. Groundless control equals no educational justification. Students used as decoys. 10. The fieldstone wall style. Description. Because of your exaggerated opinion of your importance, your immodest sandstone, slate, and limestone edifice eroded, fretted away, and became gravel, dirt, and dust once again. Specific critiques. Exaggerated opinion of your importance equals professors are arrogant. Immodest equals no humility. Edifice eroded equals the institution will collapse. Sandstone, slate, limestone equals material substances, not knowledge. 11. The pedagogue's license. Description. Once a college degree becomes a pedagogue's license to exercise authoritarian hypocrisy, the values that they searched for and discovered in the light of Western history and religion become meritless, trashy, insolvent, obsolete, dishonorable, and bankrupted. Specific critiques. Element criticism. Pedagogue's license degree equals license to teach, not learn. Authoritarian hypocrisy. Professors are authoritarian, dishonest. Values become meritless. Education destroys values. Trashy, insolvent, obsolete. Education is worthless. Dishonorable and bankrupted. Education is corrupt. 12. Gullible pupils as felonious accomplices. Description. Gullible pupils become felonious accomplices once they regurgitate inane, recondite, unoriginal, outdated profundity overheard in a stale classroom lunatic addressed as professor. Specific critiques. Students, gullible equals easily manipulated. Result, felonious accomplices equals become criminals. Action, regurgitate equals vomit knowledge back. Content, inane, recondite, unoriginal, outdated profundity equals worthless. Source, puked from the mouth of a lectern lunatic equals disgusting. 13. The Presbyterian minister style. Description. He taught me more about life, and the one thing that no proponent of Calvinism, no Presbyterian minister, and most certainly no professor will ever be capable of teaching you. Specific critiques. Comparison. No proponent of Calvinism, no Presbyterian minister, no professor equals all fail. What they can't teach, what it means to be loved. The claim, a dog teaches better than all of them. The ultimate critique. Sacks's criticism of Rhodes' faculty pedagogical styles reveals. Teachers are criminals, not educators. Teaching is control, not learning. Knowledge is vomit, not wisdom. Students are victims, not learners. Education is worthless, not valuable. Diplomas are trash, not credentials. Professors are arrogant, not humble. No accountability, no apologies. No proof, just doctrine. No love, just control. The piano room is the only integrity because it teaches truth, authenticity, and love, exactly what professors cannot teach. Role of the Steinway piano as an indictment of the institution. The Steinway piano serves as a devastating indictment of Rhodes College and Sacks's critique. It represents everything the institution claims to value but fundamentally fails to embody. The Steinway is not just a musical instrument, it's the physical proof of institutional corruption. The Steinway is indictment. 1. Quality vs. Institutional decay. The Steinway. Handcrafted with excellence. 163 plus years of building the best piano possible. Consistently great, not magical, but consistently great pianos. American craftsmanship built in New York, handcrafted with pride. Enduring legacy. White House, piano given to FDR 300,000th Steinway. Rhodes College. Archaic, little evolved, pile of rubble. Excessive use of verbal ornamentation. Useless academic rhetoric. Eroded, fretted away and became gravel, dirt and dust. The indictment. The Steinway represents excellence that endures. Rhodes represents decay that's inevitable. 2. The piano during the pandemic equals the only truth. Sacks writes. Throughout the horrifying worldwide pandemic, I made the journey to the campus daily to practice the piano, permitted by campus faculty and campus safety. The entire campus, nearly vacant and quiet between March of 2020 and January of 2021, but for the sound of the Steinway and the daily walks that I embarked upon with my beloved PA. Why this indicts Rhodes. The only thing that mattered on campus was the Steinway. The only sound was the piano music. The only peace came from the piano. Everything else was empty, corrupt, silent. The indictment. The institution is worthless except for the Steinway. 3. The Steinway vs. Drum eaters, partisans, and zealots. The Steinway. Truth. Music is honest, authentic. Beauty. Sound is beautiful, transcendent. Permanence. 300,000th Steinway presented to FDR. Craftsmanship, handcrafted with pride in the USA. Rhodes faculty. Your diploma is a worthless piece of paper bearing the signatures of drumbeaters, partisans, and zealots. The indictment. The Steinway is genuine excellence. Rhodes' diploma is worthless paper. The Steinway is handcrafted truth. Rhodes faculty are partisan corruption. 4. The Steinway is the only thing worth remembering. Sachs writes, "The sound of the piano, my laughter at the useless rhetoric of the campus masters of calculated insanity, their high-flown style, their excessive use of verbal ornamentation, my heart beating, and my tears of laughter on the keys of that piano, will live within that room as time passes, as its lights are extinguished, its fieldstone walls slowly eroding, crumbling, crushed to gravel and dust, finally returning to its corrupted soil." The indictment. What will remain, what will destroy? Sound of the Steinway field, stone walls eroding. My laughter lights extinguished. My tears on the keys crumbling to gravel. My heart beating returning to corrupted soil. The Steinway equals eternal. Music lives forever. Rhodes equals ephemeral walls crumble to dust. 5. The Steinway v.s. verbal ornamentation. The Steinway. Truth, music is honest expression. Simplicity, piano keys equals 88 notes, no decoration. Authenticity, real sound, real emotion. Rhodes faculty. Their high-flown style, their excessive use of verbal ornamentation. The indictment. The Steinway is simple truth, 88 keys, honest sound. Rhodes is complex deception, ornamentation, rhetoric. The Steinway teaches love, PJ listen. Rhodes teaches manipulation, control, not love. 6. The Steinway is sacred object. Sachs writes, "There is one room on the Rhodes College campus with 88 windows where my spirit and soul will live upon the holy ground and within its consecrated walls forever." 88 windows equals 88 piano keys equals the Steinway. The indictment. The only sacred thing on campus is the Steinway. The only holy ground is where the Steinway sits. The only thing that lasts forever is the Steinway's music. The institution is corrupt soil around the Steinway. The Steinway sanctifies the room. The institution corrupts everything else. 7. The Steinway v.s. absurd doctrine. The Steinway. Truth, music is real, authentic, honest. Evidence, you can hear it, feel it, experience it. Proof, the sound echoes across campus. Rhodes faculty. Absurd doctrine proclaimed as true without proof. The indictment. The Steinway proves itself, you hear the music. Rhodes proves nothing, just doctrine, no evidence. The Steinway is truth, honest expression. Rhodes is deception, absurd doctrine. 8. The Steinway is the only education. Sachs's education. The only diploma David Sachs ever wanted or needed. The Memphis Hebrew Academy, 1957. David was 5 years old. Music manuscripts preserved in Library of Congress. Songs adopted as official Memphis city songs. Performed at Steinway Hall in London and New York. 40-plus years on Warmer radio. Rhodes education. Worthless piece of paper bearing the signatures of drumbeaters, partisans, and zealots. The indictment. The Steinway is real education, recognized, preserved, performed. Rhodes is fake education, worthless paper, partisan signatures. The Steinway creates excellence, Library of Congress. Rhodes creates nothing, just rhetoric. 9. The Steinway is the only love. The Steinway and PJ. I would open the window and she would sleep beneath that window listening to me play, the sound of the piano echoing across the Rhodes campus. The indictment. A dog listened to the Steinway and understood. Professors couldn't teach love. The Steinway created connection to Ye came running. Rhodes created isolation, rejection, loneliness. The Steinway equals love. Ye taught what it means to be loved. Rhodes equals hate, irreverence toward any student. 10. The Steinway is the final critique. Sachs ends. Because of your exaggerated opinion of your importance, your modus sandstone, slate and limestone edifice eroded, fretted away, and became gravel, dirt and dust once again. But the Steinway. Its lights are extinguished, its fieldstone walls slowly eroding, crumbling, crushed to gravel and dust, finally returning to its corrupted soil. But my spirit and soul will live upon the holy ground and within its consecrated walls forever. The indictment. Physical walls equals will crumble roads. Steinway music equals lives forever truth. Institution equals corrupted soil dead. Piano room equals sacred ground alive. The ultimate indictment. The Steinway piano indicts Rhodes College because the only excellence on campus is the Steinway. The only truth is the piano music. The only love is what the Steinway created today. The only sacred space is where the Steinway sits. The only thing that endures is the Steinway's music. Everything else is worthless, corrupt, dead. The Steinway is the proof. Rhodes claims to be the place of excellence, truth, and education, but the only thing that embodies those values is a piano, not the institution itself. The institution is corrupt soil around the sacred Steinway. Sachs's specific complaints about the piano's maintenance at Rhodes. Based on the Trampled Veneration text you shared, David Sachs does not make any specific complaints about the Steinway piano's maintenance at Rhodes College. In fact, the opposite is true. The piano is described in perfectly positive terms throughout the essay. What Sachs actually says about the piano. No negative comments about maintenance. Sachs describes the piano exclusively positively. Description meaning. The sound of the Steinway, the piano sounds good. The sound of the piano echoing across the Rhodes campus sound filled the space beautifully. Tears of laughter on the keys of that piano playing brought joy. My heart beating. On the keys, emotional connection. Listening to me play listen, the piano worked. There is no mention of tuning problems, mechanical issues, stuck keys, poor maintenance, neglect, damage, disrepair, broken parts, lack of upkeep. The piano was permitted by faculty. Permitted by campus faculty and campus safety. This indicates faculty allowed access to the piano. Campus safety approved the daily visits. The piano was accessible and available. The piano was functional. Sachs could play daily. The piano is sacred, not neglected. Sachs describes the piano room as holy ground, consecrated walls. My spirit and soul will live forever. Fieldstone walls slowly eroding, crumbling the building, not the piano. The walls are eroding, not the piano. The piano itself is sacred, eternal, perfect. Why there are no maintenance complaints. The piano serves as a counterpoint to institutional corruption, not as another example of it. The piano represents truth in a place of lies. The piano represents beauty in a place of ugliness. The piano represents love in a place of rejection. The piano represents excellence in a place of mediocrity. If Sachs complained about the piano's maintenance, it would undermine the piano's symbolic role as the only good thing on campus. What Sachs actually criticizes. Sachs's complaints are about faculty, irksome, immodest, lectern, lunatic. Curriculum, useless academic rhetoric. Administration, venal administration. Willful negligence. Institution, elitist glass house only surpassed by the Republican Congress. Founders, anti-Semites and slave owners. Diploma, worthless piece of paper. The piano is never criticized. It's the only thing that escapes Sachs's critique. The answer. David Sachs does not make any specific complaints about the piano's maintenance at Rhodes College. The Steinway piano is described exclusively as functional, beautiful, sacred, and perfect, the only thing on campus worth venerating. The piano serves as the symbolic counterpoint to institutional corruption, representing everything Rhodes claims to be but fails to embody. If anything, the piano's excellent condition despite the institution's corruption indicts Rhodes by showing that excellence is possible even in a corrupt environment, but the institution itself is still corrupt for not supporting such excellence more broadly. Based on the Trampled Veneration text, the Steinway piano contrasts devastatingly with the academic buildings at Rhodes College. The piano represents excellence and permanence, while the buildings represent decay and corruption. The Steinway vs. academic buildings, complete contrast. 1. Eternal vs. eroding. The Steinway piano academic buildings. My spirit and soul will live forever. Fieldstone walls slowly eroding. Sound lives within that room as time passes, crumbling, crushed to gravel and dust. Eternal music transcends time, ephemeral buildings crumble. Sacred consecrated walls corrupt, returning to corrupted soil. The contrast. The piano's music is eternal, the buildings are perishable. 2. Handcrafted excellence vs. institutional decay. The Steinway academic buildings. Handcrafted with pride, 163 plus years of excellence, archaic, little evolved, pile of rubble. Consistently great pianos, excessive use of verbal ornamentation. American craftsmanship, New York built sandstone, slate and limestone edifice. Quality built to last, decay built to crumble. The contrast. The Steinway is excellence crafted by hand, the buildings are institutional decay. 3. Sacred space vs. corrupt soil. Where the Steinway sits, the academic buildings. Holy ground, corrupted soil. Consecrated walls, modest sandstone, slate and limestone edifice. 88 windows equals piano keys, actual stone walls eroding. Sacred music sanctifies, dead walls crumble. The contrast. The piano room is holy ground, the rest of campus is corrupted soil. 4. Sound vs. silence. The Steinway creates, the buildings create. Sound of the piano echoing across the Rhodes campus, entire campus, nearly vacant and quiet. Music fills the space, silence, EMPTY Chinese letter. Vibrant sound, lives dead, vacant, quiet. Life PJ listen, death, no students. The contrast. The Steinway creates sound, the buildings create silence. 5. What will remain vs. what will destroy. What will remain piano, what will destroy buildings. The sound of the piano feels, stone walls slowly eroding. My laughter crumbling, crushed to gravel. Tears of laughter on the keys, dust. My heart beating, returning to corrupted soil. Eternal lives forever, ephemeral becomes dust. The contrast. The piano's music and emotion are eternal, the buildings will crumble to dust. 6. The piano room vs. the rest of campus. The piano room with Steinway, the rest of campus, academic buildings. One room on the Rhodes College campus, the entire campus nearly vacant. Holy ground, corrupted soil. Consecrated walls, immodest sandstone, slate and limestone. Sacred, only good thing corrupt everything else. Where love happened, PJ, where rejection happened, students. The contrast. The piano room is the only sacred space, the rest of campus is Karamas. 7. The building's physical description. Academic buildings. Because of your exaggerated opinion of your importance, your immodest sandstone, slate and limestone edifice eroded, fretted away and became gravel, dirt and dust once again. The piano room. There is one room on the Rhodes College campus with 88 windows where my spirit and soul will live upon the holy ground and within its consecrated walls forever. The physical contrast. Academic buildings, piano room. Immodest consecrated. Sandstone, slate and limestone, stone, 88 windows, piano keys. Eroded, fretted away, lives forever. Gravel, dirt and dust, holy ground. Once again will repeat, forever permanent. The contrast. Buildings crumble to dust, the piano lives forever. 8. What the Steinway represents. Steinway piano, academic buildings. Truth music is honest deception, absurd doctrine. Beauty sound is beautiful, ugliness verbal ornamentation. Love PJ listened, rejection, irreverence toward students. Excellence, handcrafted mediocrity, useless rhetoric. Permanence, lives forever, decay crumbles to dust. Sacred, holy ground, corrupted soil. Simple, 88 keys, complex ornamentation, high-flown style. Authentic, real sound, fake, proclaimed as true without proof. 9. The ultimate contrast. Sachs's essay reveals. The Steinway. Created sound, piano echoing across campus. Created love, PA came running, listened, slept beneath window. Created truth, music is honest, authentic. Created beauty, sound filled the space. Lives forever, spirit and soul will live. The academic buildings. Created silence, campus vacant and quiet. Created rejection, students reject, lonely. Created deception, absurd doctrine, no proof. Created ugliness, verbal ornamentation, high-flown style. Will become dust, eroded, crumbled, gravel, dirt. The ultimate indictment. The Steinway piano indicts the academic buildings because the piano is eternal, music lives forever. The buildings are ephemeral, crumble to dust. The piano is sacred, holy ground. The buildings are corrupt, corrupted soil. The piano creates love. PJ taught what it means to be loved. The buildings create rejection, irreverence toward students. The piano is excellence, handcrafted beautifully. The buildings are decay, archaic, rubble, eroding. The piano is the only thing worth remembering. The buildings are the only things worth destroying. The Steinway represents what Rhodes should be: excellence, truth, love, beauty, permanence. The academic buildings represent what Rhodes actually is: decay, deception, rejection, ugliness, death. Sachs's perspective on the physical decay of liberal arts colleges. Based on the Trampled Veneration text, David Sachs presents a profoundly pessimistic perspective on the physical decay of liberal arts colleges, viewing it as the inevitable consequence of institutional corruption, elitism, and moral failure. Sachs's perspective on physical decay. 1. The inevitable collapse. Sachs predicts explicitly, unless the highly offensive, disgusting, and immature collegiate climate reverses its course, the day will arrive when Rhodes College will cease to exist, the campus sold, and every building either converted into residential housing and commercial retail space or demolished for land improvements. His perspective. Physical decay is inevitable unless the institution fundamentally changes. The campus will be sold, not preserved. Buildings will be converted to residential, commercial use, not maintained as education, or demolished, destroyed completely. 2. The physical description of decay. Sachs describes the academic buildings. Because of your exaggerated opinion of your importance, your Moda sandstone, slate, and limestone edifice eroded, fretted away, and became gravel, dirt, and dust once again. And, as its lights are extinguished, its fieldstone walls slowly eroding, crumbling, crushed to gravel and dust, finally returning to its corrupted soil. The physical decay process. Eroded, worn away by time. Fretted away, slowly destroyed. Crumbling, breaking apart. Crushed to gravel, reduced to small pieces. Dirt and dust, bare minerals. Returning to corrupted soil, reabsorbed into dead earth. 3. The cause, moral corruption equals physical decay. Sachs connects moral failure to physical destruction. Moral corruption, physical decay. Exaggerated opinion of your importance eroded, fretted away. Moda sandstone, slate, and limestone crumbling, crushed. Elitist autocracy, gravel, dirt, and dust. Jealousy, greed, self-aggrandizement, and hatred, corrupted soil. Venal administration. Willful negligence, walls slowly eroding. The connection, moral corruption causes physical decay. 4. The piano room vs. the buildings. Sachs creates a stark contrast. Piano room with Steinway academic buildings. My spirit and soul will live, forever eroded, fretted away. Consecrated walls, field, stone walls slowly eroding. Holy ground, corrupted soil. Eternal music lives forever, ephemeral walls crumble. Sacred dead. The lesson, the only thing that won't decay is the piano room where love happened. Everything else will crumble to dust. 5. The pedagogue's license renders buildings worthless. Sachs writes, once a college degree becomes a pedagogue's license to exercise authoritarian hypocrisy, the values that they searched for and discovered in the light of Western history and religion become meritless, trashy, insolvent, obsolete, dishonorable, and bankrupted. The implication. When education becomes hypocrisy, not truth. Buildings become worthless, not valuable. Degrees become trash, not credentials. Institutions become bankrupted, not sustainable. 6. The empty space revelation. Sachs concludes, the tedious search is over. There's nothing of value in that empty space. The physical and moral void. The campus is empty, no students during pandemic. The campus is worthless, no value. The campus is dead, no life. The campus is corrupted, no integrity. 7. The Shangri-La delusion. Sachs criticizes, A peculiar psychological anomaly among Rhodes students and faculty is that some imagine that they study and learn in Shangri-La or Camelot, places of complete bliss, delight, fantasy, and peace from the real world. The delusion. Students and faculty think they're in Shangri-La fantasy paradise. Reality, they're in corrupted soil physical decay. The illusion prevents them from seeing the decay. The decay is inevitable because they're delusional. 8. The suicides and self-destruction. Sachs notes, with worthless academic credentials, just as would happen in Shangri-La, they become putrescent and rot as suicides have taken place on the Rhodes College campus and elsewhere by Rhodes professors, graduates, and students. The physical and moral rot. Suicides on campus, physical death. Putrescent and rot, physical decay. Worthless credentials, moral decay. Self-destruction, institutional collapse. 9. The dying links metaphor. Sachs writes, the dying links of North Parkway, Memphis, Tennessee 1848, 2023 c. The metaphor. 1848-2023, the college's lifespan 175 years. Dying, the college is in terminal decay. Links, an animal symbol of wildness, intelligence now dying. North Parkway, the location, physical ground now dying. The message, the college is a dying creature on a dying road. 10. The dying lioness from ancient Assyria. Sachs references. The dying lioness of Nineveh, Assyria 645-635 BC. The ancient parallel. 645-635 BC, ancient Assyrian Empire 2600 plus years ago. Dying lioness, a sculpture of a dying animal. Parallel, Rhodes College equals dying lioness. Meaning, the college is an ancient creature dying like the Assyrian lioness. The connection, ancient empires die, modern colleges die, physical decay is universal. 11. The consequence of elitist autocracy. Sachs warns, you'll discover that your diploma is a worthless piece of paper bearing the signatures of drumbeaters, partisans, and zealots who routinely barricade student resources necessary to overcome challenges and deny and rob these resources with elitist autocracy infused with jealousy, greed, self-aggrandizement, and hatred. The physical consequence. Elitist autocracy equals moral corruption. Barricade resources equals institutional failure. Deny and rob equals moral destruction. Jealousy, greed, hatred equals institutional death. Diploma is worthless equals institution is bankrupt. Well, final prophecy. Sachs ends with, and those who have learned that, although the sky is blue on the Rhodes College campus, the sun will never shine. The physical and spiritual meaning. Sky is blue equals physical world exists. Sun will never shine equals no light, no life, no hope. Campus equals physical space that is spiritually dead. Blue sky equals the world is alive. Rhodes equals the campus is dead. The ultimate perspective. Sachs's perspective on the physical decay of liberal arts colleges is profoundly bleak. Physical decay is inevitable unless the institution fundamentally changes. Moral corruption causes physical destruction. Corruption equals decay. Buildings will crumble to dust. Sandstone, slate, limestone, right arrow, gravel, dirt, dust. Campus will be sold, not preserved as educational. Buildings will be converted to residential and commercial use. Or demolished, destroyed completely. The only thing that lasts is the piano room where love happened. Everything else is corrupted, soiled, dead, worthless. The sun will never shine, no hope, no life. Liberal arts colleges are dying like the Assyrian lioness. The decay is the result of institutional corruption, not natural decline. The buildings crumble because the institution is morally bankrupt, not because time passes. The theological implications of his dust and earth imagery. Based on the Trampled Veneration text and the theological context of biblical dust imagery, David Sacks's dust and earth imagery carries profound theological implications that invert Christian doctrine and affirm Jewish creation theology. The theological implications. 1. To dust you will return equals Genesis 3:19. Sachs writes, Fieldstone walls slowly eroding, crumbling, crushed to gravel and dust, finally returning to its corrupted soil. Biblical parallel Genesis 3:19. For dust you are, and to dust you will return. The theological meaning. Dust equals mortality. Human beings are transient. Dust equals humility. God didn't use gold or granite, only dust. Dust equals dependence. Humans are completely dependent on God's breath. Dust equals return. We return to the earth after death. Sachs's inversion. The institution Rhodes returns to dust. The piano room sacred space lives forever. The wall equals mortal dust. The spirit equals eternal lives forever. 2. Corrupted soil equals the fall Genesis 3. Sachs describes finally returning to its corrupted soil. Biblical theology Genesis 3:17-19. God curses the ground because of sin. Cursed is the ground because of you. The earth becomes corrupted, not holy. Death equals return to the corrupted ground. Sachs's theological claim. Rhodes College equals corrupted ground. Institution is morally dead. The piano room equals holy ground where God's breath is. The campus equals cursed ground returning to dust. Zirit equals redeemed spirit lives forever. 3. Dust vs. divine image equals the tension. The theological sources reveal. Biblical view Sachs's view. Dust equals humility. We are insignificant. Dust equals institutional death. Rhodes is worthless. Dust plus God's breath equals human life. Dust plus spirit equals eternal life. Piano music. Dust equals mortality. We died. Dust equals moral corruption. Institution is corrupt. Dust equals creation. We come from earth. Dust equals decay. Institution crumbles. Sachs's inversion. Dust isn't humiliation, it's corruption. Dust isn't creation, it's death. Dust isn't holy, it's cursed. Spirit not dust equals eternal. 4. Gravel, dirt and dust equals Ecclesiastes 3:20. Sachs writes, became gravel, dirt and dust once again. Biblical parallel Ecclesiastes 3:20. All are from the dust, and to dust all return. Theological meaning. All creation returns to dust. Humanity equals made from dust. Death equals return to dust. Mortality equals dust is our essence. Sachs's claim. The institution returns to dust, not human. The wall returns to dust, not spirit. The campus returns to dust, not love. The piano music lives forever, not dust. 5. Eroded, fretted away equals Job 17:16. Sachs describes. Your Rhodes sandstone, slate and limestone edifice eroded, fretted away and became gravel, dirt and dust once again. Biblical parallel Job 17:16. Will they go down to the dust? Ah, will they both go down together? The illogical meaning. Dust equals death. Job asks if he'll go to dust. Dust equals judgment. Dust equals looming judgment. Dust equals futility. Dust equals worthlessness. Dust equals worthiness. Dust equals nothing. Sachs's claim. The institution goes to dust, not saved. The edifice is worthless, not valuable. The wall is futile, not eternal. The spirit is eternal, not dust. 6. Dust equals repentance. Daniel 9:3. Theological sources reveal. To repent in ashes is a visual marker for a change of heart. Repent in dust and ashes equals fully humble yourself and surrender everything you are before God. Sachs's inversion. Dust isn't repentance, it's condemnation. Walls aren't holy, they're cursed. Campus isn't sacred, it's corrupted. The piano room is holy where love happened. 7. Sand equals foolish foundation. Matthew 7:26. Sachs writes. Immodest sandstone, slate and limestone edifice. Biblical parallel Matthew 7:26. Who built his house on the sand? During times of trouble or judgment, the house will fall. Theological meaning. Sand equals foolish foundation, not rock. House on sand equals will fall, not stand. Sand equals tradition of men, not God. Dust equals judgment, looming condemnation. Sachs's claim. Rhodes equals house on sand will fall. Institution equals foolish foundation, not rock. Campus equals corrupted soil, not holy. Piano room equals holy ground, rock foundation. 8. The dust-to-dust paradox. Theological sources explain. This dust-to-dust understanding is both practical and prophetic. From birth to death, from dust to ashes I repent. Sax's paradox. Institution equals dust to dust, dead to dead. Piano room equals spirit to forever, alive to eternal. Wall equals dust, mortal. Spirit equals eternal, divine. The theological inversion. Dust equals institution, corrupted. Spirit equals piano music, eternal. Campus equals death, returning to dust. Love equals life, lies forever. 9. Dust equals worthlessness, Ecclesiastes 12:7. Sachs writes, "There's nothing of value in that empty space." Biblical parallel, Ecclesiastes 12:7. And the dust returns to the ground it came from. Theological meaning. Dust equals worthlessness, nothing valuable. Dust equals futility, nothing eternal. Dust equals emptiness, nothing holy. Dust equals death, nothing alive. Sax's claim. Campus equals worthless, nothing valuable. The institution equals futile, nothing eternal. The wall equals empty, nothing holy. The piano music equals eternal, something alive. 10. The breath of God vs. corrupted soil. Biblical theology, Genesis 2:7. The Lord God formed man of dust from the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. Theological contrast. Genesis Acts. Dust plus God's breath equals living being. Dust plus no breath equals dead institution. Ground equals holy, created by God. Soil equals corrupted, institution is dead. Breath equals life, dust equals death. Man equals living being, wall equals dead edifice. Sax's claim. The piano room equals has God's breath, spirit lives forever. The campus equals no breath, corrupted soil. The wall equals dust, mortal. The music equals eternal, divine. 11. The image of God vs. dust. Theological sources explain. We're from the dust of the earth, but we're also bearers of God's image. One teaches humility, the other evokes glory. Sax's inversion. Biblical view, Sax's view. Dust equals humility, we are insignificant. Dust equals corruption, institution is worthless. Image of God equals glory, we are divine. Spirit equals eternal, piano music is divine. Dust equals lowliness, we are humble. Walls equals dead, institution is dead. Image equals dignity, we are valuable. Music equals eternal, spirit is valuable. 12. The final theological claim. Sachs ends. And those who have learned that, although the sky is blue on the Rhodes College campus, the sun will never shine. Theological implications. Element biblical meaning, Sax's meaning. Sky equals blue, God's creation. Sky equals God's glory. Sky equals physical world exists. Sun equals shines, God's light. Sun equals God's presence. Sun equals institutional hope, never shines. Canvas equals ground, earth. Ground equals God's creation. Canvas equals corrupted soil, dead. Dust equals return, death. Dust equals mortality. Dust equals corruption, worthless. Spirit equals lives, eternal. Spirit equals God's breath. Spirit equals eternal, lives forever. The ultimate theological implications. Sax's dust and earth imagery reveals. Dust equals moral corruption, not humility. Dust equals institutional death, not human mortality. Dust equals worthlessness, not creation. Dust equals cursed ground, not holy ground. Dust equals judgment, not repentance. Spirit equals eternal life, not dust. Piano music equals divine, not human. Piano room equals holy ground, not corrupted soil. Campus equals death, not life. Institution equals corrupted, not holy. Sachs inverts Christian theology. Dust isn't humility, it's corruption. The piano room is holy, not the campus. The spirit lives forever, not the dust. The institution is dead, not the human. This is Jewish theology. God created from dust, but the Spirit is divine rather than Christian theology, humility in dust, but glory in Christ. Impact of Genesis 3:19 on his broader view of institutional decay. Based on the Trampled Veneration text and the theological context of Genesis 3:19, Sachs's use of dust imagery is directly rooted in the Genesis 3:19 curse, which fundamentally shapes his view of institutional decay as divine judgment on moral corruption. Genesis 3:19 and institutional decay. Genesis 3:19, the biblical text. For you are dust, and to dust you shall return. Sachs's application to institutional decay. Sachs writes, because of your exaggerated opinion of your importance, your immota sandstone, slate and limestone edifice eroded, fretted away, and became gravel, dirt and dust once again. And, as its lights are extinguished, its fieldstone walls slowly eroding, crumbling, crushed to gravel and dust, finally returning to its corrupted soil. The theological connection. 1. Because of your exaggerated opinion equals pride. Genesis 3:6. Genesis 3:6 context. Adam and Eve saw the fruit as good for food, pleasing to the eye, and desirable to make one wise. This was pride, ego, selfishness. God told them, pride, ego, and selfishness will now cause strife in your relationships. Sachs's claim. Because of your exaggerated opinion of your importance. The connection. Exaggerated opinion equals pride, the same sin that caused the fall. Institutional decay equals divine judgment, the same as human death. Pride, right arrow, dust, right arrow, death, same as Genesis 3:19. 2. Immodest edifice equals the cursed ground. Genesis 3:17. Genesis 3:17 context. Cursed is the ground because of you. The theological meaning. The ground was cursed because of Adam's sin. Creation itself is now corrupted, not holy. Death equals return to the cursed ground. Sachs's claim. Immodest sandstone, slate and limestone edifice, finally returning to its corrupted soil. The connection. The institution equals cursed ground corrupted by pride. The edifice equals immodest, not holy. The soil equals corrupted, cursed. The decay equals divine judgment returning to dust. 3. Eroded, fretted away equals the process of death. Genesis 3:19. Genesis 3:19 context. To dust you shall return. The theological meaning. Death is not instant, it's a process. The process of dying begins at birth for all. Physical death equals return to the ground. Sachs's claim. Eroded, fretted away. Slowly eroding, crumbling, crushed to gravel and dust. The connection. Eroded equals dying process, gradual, not instant. Fretted away equals worn away, the process of death. Slowly eroding equals the process of judgment. Crushed to gravel and dust equals the final return to dust. 4. Gravel, dirt, and dust equals the completion of judgment. Genesis 3:19. Genesis 3:19 context. For you are dust, and to dust you shall return. The theological meaning. Dust equals mortality, human beings are transient. Dust equals death returning to the ground. Dust equals judgment, looming condemnation. Dust equals worthlessness, nothing valuable remains. Sachs's claim. Became gravel, dirt and dust once again. The connection. Gravel equals the first stage of decay. Dirt equals the second stage of decay. Dust equals the final stage of decay, complete judgment. Once again equals the cycle repeats, pride, right arrow, dust, right arrow, death. 5. Corrupted soil equals the cursed creation. Genesis 3:17. Genesis 3:17-19 context. Cursed is the ground because of you. The theological meaning. The ground became cursed because of sin. Creation is now corrupted, not holy. Death equals return to the corrupted ground. Sin equals corruption of the earth. Sachs's claim. Finally returning to its corrupted soil. The connection. Corrupted soil equals cursed ground, the same as Genesis 3:17. The institution equals corrupted, not holy. Campus equals cursed, not sacred. The decay equals divine judgment returning to the cursed ground. How Genesis 3:19 shapes Sachs's view. 1. Institutional decay equals divine judgment. Genesis 3:19 Sax's institution. Human equals dust mortal, institution equals dust mortal. Human equals to dust death, institution equals to dust death. Human equals cursed ground, institution equals corrupted soil. Human equals judgment, consequence of sin, institution equals judgment, consequence of pride. The connection, the institution's decay, is divine judgment just like human death. 2. Pride equals the cause of decay. Genesis 3:6 Sax's philosophy. Pride equals cause of fall, exaggerated opinion equals cause of decay. Ego equals selfishness, self-aggrandizement equals corruption. Selfishness equals strife, elitist autocracy equals corruption. The connection, pride causes decay just like Genesis 3:6. 3. The process equals gradual judgment. Genesis 3:19 Sax's process. Dying equals process begins at birth, eroding equals process begins with pride. Death equals gradual not instant, decaying equals gradual not instant. Return equals process, return to dust, returning equals process, return to dust. The connection, decay is gradual just like Genesis 3:19. 4. The end equals return to dust. Genesis 3:19 Sax's end. Dust equals mortality, dust equals mortality. Return equals death, return equals institutional death. Ground equals cursed, soil equals corrupted. Final equals judgment, final equals campus soul. The connection, decay ends with return to dust just like Genesis 3:19. The ultimate impact. Genesis 3:19 shapes Sax's view of institutional decay in 4 fundamental ways. Institutional decay equals divine judgment, not natural decline. Pride equals the cause of decay, not time or economics. The process equals gradual judgment, not instant collapse. The end equals return to dust, not preservation or renewal. The institution is cursed just like the ground was cursed in Genesis 3:17. Pride right arrow, cursed ground right arrow, dust right arrow, death. Exaggerated opinion right arrow, corrupted soil right arrow, dust right arrow, institutional death. The piano room is the only thing that escapes the curse because it represents God's breath, spirit lives forever, not the cursed ground, walls crumble to dust. This is Genesis 3 applied to institutions. Just as the ground became cursed because of human pride, the institution becomes cursed because of institutional pride. Significance of the word fieldstone and his architectural analysis. Based on the Trampled Veneration text and the definition of fieldstone, the word fieldstone carries profound symbolic significance in Sax's architectural analysis. It represents natural authenticity versus institutional corruption, permanence versus decay, and the earth's connection versus the institution's abandonment of the ground. The significance of fieldstone. 1. Natural origin vs. quarried stone. Fieldstone's definition. Fieldstone is a naturally occurring type of stone which lies at or near the surface of the earth. Stone collected from the surface of fields where it occurs naturally. Sax's use. Fieldstone walls slowly eroding, crumbling, crushed to gravel and dust, finally returning to its corrupted soil. The symbolic meaning. Fieldstone equals comes from the earth naturally, not quarried. Fieldstone equals represents connection to the ground, not artificial. Fieldstone equals found in fields, agricultural, humble, natural. Fieldstone equals unfinished stone, not cut, not polished, natural form. The contrast. Quarried stone equals artificial, cut, uniform. Fieldstone equals natural, irregular, unique. Institution equals artificial, corrupted. Fieldstone equals natural, authentic. 2. Returning to its corrupted soil equals the irony. Sax writes, finally returning to its corrupted soil. The irony. Fieldstone equals comes from the soil naturally. Fieldstone equals represents connection to the earth. That the soil equals corrupted, the institution corrupted the ground. The walls return to the corrupted soil, death, decay. The theological meaning. Fieldstone equals natural, earth connected. Corrupted soil equals cursed ground, Genesis 3:17. Return to dust equals Genesis 3:19, judgment. The institution equals corrupted by pride, not noble. 3. The Fieldstone-Hall connection. Sachs writes, P.J. Worthy steward of Southwestern Hall. And Fieldstone walls slowly eroding. The irony. Southwestern Hall equals the building where P.J. lived. Fieldstone walls equals the building is natural, not artificial. But the walls are eroding, death, decay. The institution equals corrupted, not holy. The contrast. Fieldstone equals natural, durable, should last. Walls equals eroding, crumbling, dying. Institution equals corrupted, dead. Yano room equals sacred, eternal. 4. Fieldstone equals foundation built to last. The architectural sources explain. It represents building with grit and ingenuity, suggesting a foundation built to last. This term is evocative of natural, durable stone often used in building. Sachs's irony. Fieldstone equals should be durable, built to last. But the walls equals eroding, not lasting. Fieldstone equals natural, foundation strong. But the institution equals corrupted, weak. The meaning. The fieldstone represents what should be permanent, the building. But the institution makes it temporary, eroding, crumbling. The natural stone equals should be durable. The corrupted institution equals makes it dying. 5. Fieldstone equals rustic charm vs. institutional arrogance. The sources explain. Unlike stones from quarries, which are often uniform, fieldstones are unique, bearing the marks of nature's artistry. Their irregular shapes, varied colors, and diverse sizes reflect the legacy of geological processes, erosion, and time. This distinctive character gives fieldstone its rustic charm, making it a favored choice for those seeking a touch of New England's pastoral past. Sachs's contrast. Fieldstone natural, institution corrupted. Irregular shapes equals natural, uniform equals artificial. Varied colors equals authentic, immodest equals arrogant. Diverse sizes equals humble, exaggerated opinion equals pride. Rustic charm equals pastoral, elitist autocracy equals arrogant. Geological processes equals time, self-aggrandizement equals ego. The meaning. Fieldstone equals natural, humble, authentic. Institution equals artificial, arrogant, corrupt. Fieldstone equals connection to earth. Institution equals abandonment of earth. 6. Fieldstone equals connection to the earth. The sources explain. Fieldstones are typically gathered from fields, suggesting a connection to the earth and natural resilience. Sachs's theological meaning. Finally returning to its corrupted soil. The connection. Fieldstone equals comes from the earth, natural. Fieldstone equals represents earth, connection, grounded. Corrupted soil equals the institution corrupted, the ground cursed. Return to dust equals Genesis 3:19 judgment, dead. The irony. The fieldstone should represent connection to the earth. But the institution corrupted the soil. The walls returned to corrupted soil. The piano room equals holy ground, not corrupted. 7. Fieldstone equals the original obstacle into opportunity. The sources explain. As settlers cleared their land for agriculture, they unearthed countless fieldstones. These stones, initially viewed as hindrances to farming, quickly found their place as foundational elements in farm infrastructure. Sachs's philosophical meaning. Fieldstone equals obstacle, hindrance. Fieldstone equals becomes foundation, opportunity. Institution equals obstacle, hindrance. Institution equals becomes decay, death. The contrast. Fieldstone equals natural, transformed, good. Institution equals corrupted, decayed, bad. Fieldstone equals humility, natural. Institution equals pride, arrogant. 8. Fieldstone equals duration vs. decay. The sources explain. Some of the more stately homes on the prairies are constructed of fieldstone and are over a century old. These historical touchpoints serve as a testament to the enduring appeal of fieldstone. Sachs's irony. Fieldstone equals should endure over a century. But the walls equals eroding, crumbling, dying. Fieldstone equals is durable, natural. But the institution equals is corrupt, dead. The meaning. Fieldstone represents permanence, should last. Institution represents decay, won't last. Fieldstone equals natural, durable. Institution equals artificial, corrupt. 9. The ultimate symbolic meaning. Sacks's use of fieldstone reveals what fieldstone represents, what the institution represents. Natural, unfinished stone, artificial, corrupted. Earth connected from fields, earth abandoned, corrupted soil. Humble, natural form, arrogant, exaggerated opinion. Durable, should last century, temporary, eroding, crumbling. Unique, irregular shapes, uniform, artificial design. Pastoral, rustic charm, elitist, autocracy. Foundation, built to last, decay, crumbling to dust. Natural resilience, geological processes, artificial corruption, self-aggrandizement. Holy, should be sacred, corrupted, corrupted soil. The ultimate significance. The word fieldstone is profoundly significant because it represents natural authenticity. The building should be natural, but the institution is corrupt. It represents earth connection. The stone comes from the earth, but the institution corrupted the soil. It represents permanence. Fieldstone should last centuries, but the walls are eroding. It represents humility. Fieldstone is unfinished, but the institution is arrogant. It represents foundation. Fieldstone is built to last, but the institution is dying. It represents the illogically cursed ground. Field stone returns to corrupted soil equals Genesis 3:17 judgment. The fieldstone walls are the physical proof of institutional decay. The natural stone, which should be durable and connected to the earth, is eroding, crumbling, and returning to corrupted soil, the exact judgment of Genesis 3:19. The piano room escapes this decay because it represents holy ground, not corrupted soil, where the spirit lives forever, not returns to dust.